And so the thing is that while you're scaling, you could be ignoring a very, very critical part of the infrastructure that you're building. And then that comes and bites you in the rear in such a spectacular fashion. And that's really what you saw with so many of these companies. So many of these like hyper-scaled mobility companies, they just crashed and burned. Uh, Even though they got to really significant sizes and valuations, I'll never forget. Like, um, I don't want to name too many names, but there's a pretty major platform that shut down fully across the U.S. After reaching $1 billion in valuation. You know, like they didn't even get acquired, right? Like that's the thing that's the level of like get up there and then crash. Story of Icarus flying too close to the sun kind of a thing. Because they didn't solve the fundamental underlying problem, the unit economics, the customer base. You pour money on a problem, you end up making it bigger sometimes. So what actually ended up happening on my side was I got lucky more than I got smart, right? It's only in hindsight that I'm like, okay, we got lucky because we built it wisely. The story is actually kind of pretty dramatic. So after 2 months of pitching, I finally met these VCs that saw the vision that I was putting forward, and they're like, okay, you know what? We think that this could be a big win, and we see some corporate angle that this could work with. And they gave me a term sheet. They basically said, look, we're going to do it. We believe in you. I bring that term sheet to, my partner that I brought on, and I was like, we did it. Like after 3 years of, grinding this thing together, like we're here. We're going to get investment. And that night he basically tells me I'm out. Like, he gave me the story about, family emergency. More likely scenario was that he just didn't want the pressure. He kind of sold to me that he was this genius, hyper competent level engineer. And, later on, as I got a bit better at understanding code and brought in new people that looked at the code, they kind of pointed out that, the work was more akin to like a high school sophomore level of talent, as opposed to, um, Steve Jobs level of genius in development. Like he was not a Wozniak, right? Um, so he leaves. I go back to the investors. Of course, they say, hey, we can't invest in you without a technical person on the team. You're basically a one-man show at the moment.
Mm.
Now, for context, at this point, the business was already, had already grown enough. We were past $1 million in revenue per year. We were profitable. We were growing. Things were looking up. But, VCs are not going to invest in a small mom and pop shop. They want to see a startup that can scale. So I told them, listen, guys, this is really unfortunate, but first of all, personally, it was devastating. This is a person that was a very close friend to me, and I really felt stabbed in the back. At the moment that we got the funding, he disappears at the high point, right? But I was like, I kind of had to go into founder mode and say, okay, there's just another problem to solve. Let's like do this the right way and take our emotions out of it. Like there's a day where I can allow myself to feel sorry for myself and crumble in a corner and cry about it. But today is not that day. Like we're going to save that for the future. And so I go in and I tell them, guys, it was probably my best stroke of brilliance ever. I was like, guys, listen, this is terrible, but I don't want you to close the book on me yet. I want you to actually take this as an opportunity to see how I operate under a crisis, under pressure. Give me 30 days. I want you to see what I can do then, and then like reconsider if you'll continue the investment.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, okay, you have
Great
30
position,
days.
by the way.
Yeah, I was like, wow, that was the smartest thing I've ever come up with. To this day, I really think that it was like my best schmooze ever.